to Manc Pod. We are back for another week. We're in our 20s now, which is, woo, we are flying. Yeah. Some of you might be able to tell because
we're wearing the same
clothes, that we had double recording. So last week and this week we're double recording because right now I'm in Ireland, and so we just thought, let's give ourselves a bit of a head start just in case my head is up my backside. Let's double record, and
we don't want to miss out and giving you the chaos, so why not?
Yeah. So hopefully in another week or two I'll actually be able to bring you all the Irish
real goss.
Yeah, all the real goss, and Liv will be able to give you all the goss from London. But we are back, excited to go, and we've got a good one for you today. We are talking all things babies.
Yes. Women in our 30s, it's always a hot topic, and we want to know what you guys think, because there's a lot of pressures in society for you to feel like you have to have a kid, and you have to have a kid now. So I spent most of my late 20s thinking, I probably need to have a child soon.
Yeah.
I probably need to have a child soon. I've still not got a child.
I absolutely agree with you. In my 20s, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I got to 30 and I was like, oh my god. It's just a really funny thing. I think there's so much to talk about on Babygate.
Yeah.
So obviously neither me or Liv have babies children. I am one of 6, so had babies around me all the time growing up. Literally.
I'm only one of 2, but I am the eldest grandchild, so I have got lots of cousins, so I'm used to babies. I love babies. I'm used to being around babies, so
yeah. The thing with babies is they're just cute.
They're so cute.
Like they're little...
My womb throbs when I see a little baby, and it's like, I'm not like newborns. Absolutely, but obviously they're just like very chilled to sleep all day. But like when they're actually like alert enough and like a few months old, and they're just so squishy, like having all the rolls, like Michelin. I think Michelin babies, as in like the Michelin logo babies with all the rolls ending in the thighs and the knees.
Oh my gosh, that's about the 6-month mark.
Yeah.
Where they're filled out. They are taking that milk and they are loving the milk. They are like, yep. And they've started to maybe be weaned, and they're having a little bit of toast.
Yes.
They're having a little bit of cream egg.
They're just the cutest.
Like they are the cutest. The little noses, I can't cope. The little cheeks that are just squishy and that are red. The little eyeballs that are big and they're just like looking around, taking in the world, and they're like smiley. I just absolutely love everything about a baby at that age.
I think this is the reasons why people forget the trauma of the birth, and also forget the trauma of the sleepless nights and all that jazz. It's because of all these things.
Do you know what? And I have been thinking about this over the last couple of years, obviously, as and when baby chats come up.
Yeah.
But I think when you're broody like us, you end up going, oh my god, I want a baby, because you see a cute baby and you're like, I want a baby. Yeah. But I think what people forget is that babies become children, and children become teenagers, and teenagers become adults. Do you want all of that? Because when you're signing up for a baby,
that's a lot.
Yeah, but it is true.
It's true.
That is what you're signing up for. Like,
it snowballs.
Yeah, like, yes, you've got this cute little baby for 12, 18 months. But then that baby becomes a toddler, and toddlers are
time flies as well.
Yeah.
But I think they're so funny when they're toddlers, because they just come out of the they just come out with the funniest things. Like one of them's like, "Mummy, are you pregnant?" And it's like, "No, you've just got like a little bit of a pouch." Yeah. Because you've eaten or whatever. Yeah. And it's like they just have no filter. That complete innocence.
I know, it's gorgeous.
Naive to the badness in the world. Yeah. It's just, I wanted to bottle it up. It's just the cutest.
I know. And when they say like, "Mummy, you're beautiful. Mummy, I love you." You know, like when you're doing your makeup and stuff.
So cute.
Like, it's so cute. And like when our friends have told us little stories, or they'll send you little videos of stuff, it's just the most adorable thing. Like, I actually love, oh my god, I actually love this. I remember.
This is not we're just going to the whole pod being brooding.
We literally, we'll be going home tonight.
I know,
I actually love it when they're young, and they're like your best friend. Yeah. And you know, they're little kind of babies turning into toddlers, into little children, and they love you so much, and like you're the best thing, your mummy or their sister.
Just very attached, aren't they?
Yeah, I remember when my little brother was a baby, and we were all older, so I'm 32, he's 16, so there's a big age gap.
Yeah.
And I remember we'd like babysit him and stuff, and we'd be looking after him and be sending him to sleep, and I'd be rocking him in my arms thinking, oh my God, just go to sleep, in front of baby TV, like with fish. But I just remember like holding him, and he just looked like an angel and so peaceful and so perfect. Or like he'd get in bed with me and he'd bring all these dinosaurs when he got a little bit older, and we'd have a bed full of dinosaurs, and he would just fall asleep on your chest. And it's like those are the just most perfect moments that you never ever want to forget.
I think because it's such a big age gap though, I think that's why it's the sweetest time. Because you're more alert enough, obviously without having your own kids, to be able to look after them almost.
Yeah, and I think I've said this on another pod, but I do remember one time like rocking him in front of baby TV, and he was screaming and screaming and screaming, and I knew that I had like school or college the next day, whatever. And I remember looking down at him and thinking, one, I want to throw you out the window because I love you and I can't. But two, like, remember this when you're older. Like, remember this moment now. When you think you're broody, like, remember this, because this is the reality of being a parent. Because I do think you get...
It does put you off.
Yeah, well,
and especially because obviously every kid is different. And, like, you can say what you want, but it's nothing to do with the environment that they're growing up in or anything to do with the parents. I think it is just a case of they are just born, and then you're just dealing with things as and when they come along.
Yeah, like, you don't know if you're going to have a sickly baby or a really well baby but doesn't sleep, or there's so many factors, isn't there? But I just remember being like, remember this, because I knew that there would probably become a point,
a time
where I'd be like, oh, just want a baby, just want a baby. I'm in love. But I remember being like, just remember this, because this is actually going to be difficult. Like, make sure that you're in a good relationship. Make sure that you're financially stable. Make sure that you are in a good headspace and have a great support system. And I know people make it work when they don't have all of that, of course. But I remember just thinking, if you can wait for you to get to that place, do it then, because you're then setting yourself up and the baby for the best.
100%. I just feel like I don't think there's ever a right time to have a child. Like, I think everyone paints a picture of like, okay, I mean, obviously if you're like intentionally trying for a baby, which basically just means that you're having a lot of sex and just telling everyone about it, but basically if you're trying for a baby, completely get it, because obviously you want this more than anything in the world. But I think even when you want the baby more than anything in the world, you're still not fully prepared for it. I still feel like your eyes are widened the minute that baby is born, because so many things happen.
I think the one thing for me will be that feeling of like love. I don't know whether it's the same. Love. Like, I love my family unconditionally. As in my mum, my dad, my brothers and sisters. It doesn't matter how much they annoy me. I would jump in front of a bush, in front of a bullet for every single one of them. Love them all, despite my different relationships with them. Love them all unconditionally. I love Jamie conditionally, but
chosen. He's a chosen one.
Chosen, which in my opinion is an even greater love, because like, I choose despite...
You choose him every day.
Every single day. I choose him. My family, I don't choose them. I just love them, and that's just the way it is. But with your partner, like, I choose to love him every single day, despite the fact that he farts all the time.
You hate farting.
I hate farting. And he snores after like 10 Guinness. And it's so loud, it's like a walrus. And I have to wear earphones. But I choose him every single day, despite those things.
She's like convincing herself now.
I do love you. But yeah, like with your family, and I feel like...
Just completely outed you, sorry Jamie.
I'm just excited for that feeling, potentially one day, hopefully one day, of
mini
that
Jamie.
love for your baby. Like, is that the same as the love for your mum and your dad and your brothers and sisters, or is it different? Because my love for them's unconditional.
No, I think it's unconditional because it's blood. I just think that, like, I mean, it sounds dead daft, this is going to sound really crazy, but I love Milo. Like, unconditionally. Like, I would do anything for my baby. I would literally do anything for my baby. And it's just really hard. Milo's my dog. So I feel like I've already I'm halfway there. I know that sounds insane, but I feel like a lot of people these days, I think you have a decision to make. You either have a baby or you get a dog. We got a dog.
We got dogs.
And it just delayed the process just a little bit longer, just to sort of push it a bit down the line.
Because they're a little bit of hard work at the beginning.
Well, yeah, it's still hard to work now. He's got four legs and he can run faster than I can, so yeah.
I mean, last week we were talking about him foaming at the mouth because he's eating frogs. So he is a challenge.
He is. But yeah, I definitely think, like, now that I'm 30, it's definitely on the radar way more. But I get what you mean in conditional love. Like, I definitely think.
Yeah.
I don't know, I just look at Milo and think, oh my god, you're the best thing in the whole entire world. How did I not birth you?
Oh my god, I totally get it. I am the same with Rosie.
We're so crazy. Everyone's going to be thinking we're absolutely nuts.
I know, but the thing is, with Rosie and Milo and our dogs, is that they are innocent forever.
Yeah, they're
You know,
innocent.
like with babies, they grow up and they become 16 and then you think,
You're
how
the
innocent
whole
are
world,
you?
though. They look at you with admiration thinking, I've waited all day for you to finish work so we can spend some time together.
Yeah, I know. At night, I take my pyjamas off before I go to sleep because I'm a naked sleeper.
Yeah.
But I'll have worn them after I've got out of the shower, to be all
nice
cozy and stuff, And I'll fold them up and I'll pop them on the floor because Rosie loves to sleep on them. And she just will go, I'll go like this, Jamie. And I'll look over the bed and it's the same thing every night. And she's just lying on my clothes because if she's not on me, she wants to be
we don't deserve dogs.
No. And she's just an absolute, like, and every day all they want to do is wait for you to come home.
I know.
And they'll just live their life for you.
I know.
But what I will say is, a few years ago, before one of my girlfriends had a baby, we went on a night out and her dog was a bit Milo-esque, a little bit like you never know what you're gonna go home to. Although Milo's maybe not like that, but do you know what I mean? Like, this dog is gorgeous, but you know,
can be crazy
and will eat anything.
Oh, that's an issue.
Anything. Anyway, we went out and she's like, I'm gonna have to go. It's like 11 o'clock. I've been out for 4 hours. Like, I need to go for the dog. Yeah. Now, we've never been like that as parents. We've always been like, our dog will fit around our lives. We're not gonna be going home after 4 hours to make sure it's okay. We don't want it to get used to that because there's going to be times in our lives where we can't go home after 4 hours.
I do feel like they're just deacclimatised to whatever your life is.
I 100% agree. And
I would go home after 4.5 hours.
I know you would. But that's why we're different and it's fine. But we've never been like that because I'm just like, well, if I'm working and you're working and we can't get home, and I don't want to then be thinking, oh my god, what's my dog doing, what am I going to go home to?
You don't want to be panicking.
I don't want to be panicking. Rosie will be left for 24 hours if we needed her to. Like, we wouldn't, but she could. Yeah. Anyway, my friend, she was like, I need to go home, I've left the dog and now it's been like 5 hours, so I really need to go home. So you kind of like, you do you parent however you want to parent. Anyway, we went home, the dog had like pooed everywhere. So it's sad, but you know.
Good job she did go home.
Yeah, good job she went home. And then she's had a baby and she's like, honestly, now I'd leave the dog for 24 hours. Like, having a baby changes your whole perspective on being a parent. And I think that's what it is. Like, when you have your dog and you don't have kids, your dog is like, oh my god, I need to get home, I need to go home. And then you have a child that is going to need you to potentially be in A&E for 6 hours. And all of a sudden, as much as you love your dog, that baby comes first.
You just ring someone to just go around.
You do, but that might not be on your mind when your child's in hospital with tonsillitis, crying its eyes out. I think at that point, you get a whole new perspective on actually how important it is.
Your firstborn, but also they get older too.
Yeah, they do.
So I suppose they're like having a teenager.
Yeah, but I think as well it's just like, this child comes first. Will always come first, and humans do come first. As much as in our life our dogs come first, humans come first. If Jamie needed to go to hospital, I'd be with him, and Rosie would be left for 48 hours if I needed to.
It just is what it is.
Yeah, it just is what it is, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So I think having babies does change your perspective on having dogs. As babies. But anyway, where are you in your baby journey?
I definitely want kids. I just don't want kids now. Like, it sounds a daft, but I do still feel very young. I still feel like I've got a lot of life in me before I end up having children. And for example, like, me and Pun really want to go on like a really big holiday, which you won't be able to do once you have a child. So it's just little things that we want. I want to finish the house.
What holidays do you want to do that you can't take a baby on?
Expensive ones. Like, I'm not talking about the actual trip itself. I'm talking about really big, expensive nice holidays.
And is it, why don't you feel like you can take a baby? Because it's just more expensive, because you won't be able to do what you want to do whilst you're there.
And the baby takes all your money.
Yeah.
Like when you have a baby, you buy a brand new pram, a cot, you do up the nursery, you buy all the utensils and all the bottles and the makers and the bags and the blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Obviously it's like a never ending list of things that you need to do. Then you need to do a cradle that rocks it to sleep, and then you need a little show on the sheep that does the buzzing
white
thing.
noise.
Whatever you need, there's just so many things that you're gonna need. You could spend 10 grand on a baby, just having a baby.
Yeah, you could.
So like, I want to spend 10 grand, but I want to spend it in the Bahamas, or like in Bali, or you know, on a beach somewhere, like at this moment in time.
Yeah, fair. So when you have babies, are you thinking babies,
babies?
How many?
However many I can have, I guess.
Well, how many do you want?
I like a house full, so I would want 3.
3 babies.
Because 3 is enough to not have to change your car.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're changing your car if you had 3 babies.
Would you?
Yeah.
You can have 3 in the back seat, mum and dad.
Yeah, I know, but then all the crap that comes along with them, bags, prams, stuff. It's stuff everywhere.
Would you have then?
1.
1?
Maybe. I'd like twins.
No,
ideally.
I remember you saying that actually. And I think you've got a high chance of having twins.
Yeah, I mean, I am a twin.
Being a twin, yeah.
But my gran was a twin, my mum wasn't a twin, I'm a twin, so technically it would be my children that would have twins. But I'd like twins just because it means it's getting done and dusted. Yeah.
I just couldn't imagine life without my sister. And I love having my sister.
Yeah. For me it's more selfish.
Yeah.
It's more because 1 you can still do everything with.
Yes.
And I think 2 it really changes.
But they entertain each other.
Yeah.
But when you have 1 they grow up quicker.
Yeah, it's true. But like, I've got some friends and they've had 1 and they still live their best lives with that child. So they'll still go to the festivals with their child. They'll still go away with the child. They'll still do road trips with the child.
That's
and
true,
I think with 1,
it's hard.
I don't know. It's you can fit them in a bit more and they'll just get used to your life. Whereas when you've got 2, I think it really changes. And you're not going to a festival with 2 kids. Like we've got a friend who. He's got 2 twins. Obviously, well, he's got twins. He's got a set of twins, and he's like, I'm not taking them on holiday. He's like, I'm just not. He said, I'm not taking twins. He said, if I had 1, I'd take him on a plane.
Really?
But he said 2, I'm just not doing it. Yeah,
it's too much.
It's too much because it's just him as well.
Yeah.
He's like, it's just too much, and I do get that. And our friends that have 2, 3 kids. My sister, she's got 3 kids.
And it's expensive.
It's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. So I think the idea of 1. I feel like our lives would change, but like not as dramatically as if you're having like 3 plus really, 2, 3 plus. Yeah.
Well, I've always grew up in a big family, so I've always wanted a big family. But obviously, it's just circumstances whether that allows and whether I don't even know if I can even have a child yet. I'm not practically trying. But yeah, so it's just one of those things. But I think that's another thing as well. Like you are worried as you get older. You are worried whether you can even have children.
Yeah, I think when you get into your 30s, because realistically, you kind of think I've maybe got 10 to max 15 years on the body clock. So the reality is, as you start getting through your 30s, it's going to become a bit harder. Yeah. So you might need a little bit of help. And if you do need help, it's starting that then. Whereas if you knew early doors that you couldn't have kids, maybe when you were 25, then you could have maybe at least got the ball rolling. But I know I've been to the doctors like years ago when I was in my early 20s, because my periods were so irregular, maybe 1 every 6 months. Like it was crazy.
That is mad.
And I remember saying to him like, am I going to be able to have babies? I don't know what's going on. And he was like, well, are you trying? And I was like, no, I don't have a boyfriend. And he was like, okay, well, when you've been trying for a year with your partner, come back to us. And I was thinking, but what if I don't meet that person until I'm 35? And then I've got to get to know them, then decide, we want to try for a baby, and then come back. Like,
but are you more regular now?
I'm like clockwork now, yeah.
And have you been to the doctor since?
Not asked that conversation.
You should though.
Yeah.
See what the potential opportunities are.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely good. Like I would love to know the age of my ovaries.
Yeah.
And it's something that you would never know unless you look into it. And like I always looked at or thought about, should I say, not looked into it, but freezing your eggs. Yeah. It is quite expensive.
I know. Although you apparently should freeze your embryos, not your eggs.
Oh really?
Because I think that's a higher rate of success. Yeah.
Would you adopt?
Yeah.
And I think I would adopt.
Yeah. Do you know the adoption process is...
It's so grueling.
Wow.
Yes.
Like, some of my closest friends, they've adopted. Hopefully one day, in the not so long distant future, we'll get them on the pod to talk about it. So I don't really want to speak too much for them. But obviously we were kind of aware of what they were going through when they were adopting. And oh my gosh, like, it's wild.
A lot of hoops, a lot of legal stuff.
So many hoops.
Therapy, all sorts of stuff.
But what I will say is you do have like a real choice. Like, it's like Tinder.
Yeah, you are choosing.
Like, you can... Sorry.
Like a magazine.
Yeah,
Like you're ordering.
Literally, there is like a profile and you can basically swipe right, swipe left. Figuratively.
But do you reckon I mean, obviously it's good that it's a grueling process, but do you think the grueling process is the reason why so many kids aren't adopted?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs, but what I do know is that unless you are basically perfect, ready to go, you know, you've got a good house and a good financial, you know, income and all of that, unless you're like healthy enough, like you are going to struggle. It's tough.
Wild, isn't it?
I know. Yeah, I imagine there are so many amazing families, people out there who could adopt that just don't because of that process.
Yeah.
And the things that it drags out of you, you know, as a grown up.
Past trauma.
I think a lot of we put a lot of things in the back of our mind because we just put it away.
Yeah.
It's something that we've decided, compartmentalise, don't want to think about that.
No, crack on with life.
Yeah, but then you go into the adoption process and everything is dragged out of you to make sure that you're a fit parent.
Yeah.
But what about all the people that have kids that aren't fit parents that can have them naturally?
Yeah.
Blows my mind.
Yeah, it's mad.
But anyway, a whole conversation for another pod. We're talking about us and our baby journeys, where we're at.
It's good to be open about adoption, because I definitely think obviously it's an option.
Would you adopt?
Yeah. I'd go, if I couldn't have children, I'd either do IVF or adoption. I'd do either or.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't think that I would be able to adopt because of my job. I think because of we couldn't even adopt a bloody a dog from the dog's home, like because they said that we worked too many hours and we were away from home too long and things like that. And I'm like, well, how am I meant to earn money if I can't work? It's like a catch-22. You can't provide, but you can't work all the hours either.
Yeah, so that is crazy.
But yeah, so I definitely think it's something that I'd definitely look into.
Yeah. What do you think in terms of alignment with your partner? So in terms of being aligned with what you want in your life. So me and Jamie, we've been together 9 years from like when we met. And when we first met, neither of us wanted kids. When I was young, I did not want kids. I'd grown up one of 6. I was like, absolutely not. You're all annoying. Through my 20s, same. And then I kind of hit 30 and I was like, maybe I actually do. But Jamie was like, no, I don't. He's been very clear from day one, do not want kids. Obviously wasn't a problem when we got together, but by the time I was 30, we were married, we'd been together 7 years, and I was like, do you know what, my mind is changing. Yeah. His mind wasn't changing. He was like, that's not what I want. So at what point do you go, okay, well, this is a big deal. Like, babies is probably one of the biggest things.
A
make or break thing. At what point would you walk away? Because obviously I've had this conversation before with friends. Do you go, okay, well, I want babies, you don't, I'm off? Or do you go, well, I'm married, I chose you, like, we're together, and just because we're not aligned right now doesn't mean that we're not going to figure it out in the future. At what point do you go,
I think the second one. I think definitely, because you originally both agreed that you didn't want children when you first met. I mean, obviously you can change your mind.
Of course you can,
change your mind at any point. But I think as long as you communicate that and you speak to each other openly and discuss what you both want from life. Yeah. As you're going along through these different transition phases of your relationship, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to stay together. Like, I think obviously it gets to a point where, I mean, if the other person changes their mind, then great. Obviously you can both have children and you both agree on it. But then if you don't, then you've kind of got a decision really whether you want a baby more than you want your life.
Exactly.
And I think that's a really tough decision to make. But actually, like, is it a big deal? I don't think it's that much of a big deal.
What, someone having a baby or not?
Not as in, like, if you've been with someone and you've agreed when you first met someone that you didn't want children, all the way through, and then you get to like your 30s and then decide actually suddenly you do want children, and then your partner doesn't want children. I mean, if they don't change their minds, you've basically got an ultimatum.
Yeah.
I would probably just stick.
Yeah.
I wouldn't twist.
Yeah, so you'd be
then
like,
you're going to end up being a single parent.
Yeah, what? So then you'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to stick with you and not have children and sacrifice having children. Or you would stick and have kids and he has to then...
I'd probably stick instead of going and having children. Because you'll end up divorced, starting from scratch, trying to find another gorgeous human being that's as gorgeous as your husband now, and then trying to, like, have a relationship. If not, then be a single parent. And being a single parent is tough. Like, you are both parents, and if you've not got a really good support network, then that's also tough. But I think you're going into way too many variables in a very unstabilised way for yourself if you take that path. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
But then I suppose on the flip side, by choosing that, are you then going to resent your partner for the rest of your life because
they chose to stay?
Yeah, but you'd have to really know that that's
you'd
what
be upset with you'd be upset with them initially, because obviously you'd be like, surely you could change your mind. If you weren't changing the mind, if they're adamant they're not going to change their mind, there's not really anything you can do about it. Then I kind of think, like, obviously relationships are about talking things out and negotiation all the time. Sadly, that's just one thing that you can't negotiate. There isn't any halfway there. It's like you either are or you aren't having a child. I do think a lot of people change though as they get older and get a bit more, like, I would say that obviously I love babies and I want babies eventually, but I don't want babies now. But I am very motherly, like, in the way I treat people. I'm quite nurturing as a person.
Caring.
So I just think, like, obviously I want to give that to somebody. So if that's a baby or my husband or whoever, or my friends, you know what I mean?
I think it is definitely a point in your life where, obviously, me and Jamie, we had that conversation. We haven't had that conversation. We've had many conversations since I was like, you know what, I actually think I do maybe want a baby or you know, twins. So many times, and it's literally gone from me being like, this is what I want, and him being like, absolutely not, to me being like, okay, we'll just park it because I'm not desperate now.
It's not working.
Like, I love you and I will always choose you. But I always just had a feeling like it'd be okay. Like, I've known Jamie now since I was 23, so 9 years.
You always think it's going to work out in the end.
I just think, you know what, we're going to go through our lives not always being aligned. I'm going to grow, he's not. He's going to grow, I'm not. Exactly.
And different people. When you were 23, what you were both like around that age is so different, could not be any more different than where you are now. Me and Pun met when we were young. Like, I've known that boy since I was 6 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like, we knew each other for a very long time. We got together very young. So to be together and also to be friends and then get together and then go through all the different stages of I don't know, like leaving school, college, like university for him, work life, adulthood, you know, buying a house, you know, all these things, getting married, like that's a lot of stages of life to go through with somebody to not change.
Definitely.
You are changing.
And you're not always going to be on the same page.
No.
Like, there will be times. I definitely think
it's like you imagine like a road, two roads that are parallel, right? They're running parallel. And like sometimes you might do, I don't know, go and take a job or something, and then he might go to uni, and then, but it's like, as long as you guys always come back in the middle, and you're not like that,
and you're not saying, right, this is my life, that's your life, as long as you're always like, this is our life.
And it's communication. I think it's all down to communication.
Always, definitely. And that's it for us. You know, Jamie's now at a point where he's like, do you know what, I actually think, you know, I want to have a baby, and I am on board with it, and you know, maybe let's
be surrounded by babies as well, though, because like obviously it gets to like 30 and then all your friends start having babies or have babies. So I think until you've got experience with children, like, or seeing yourself how you deal with situations with children, not necessarily your children, other people's children, but like it does change you as a person. You're like, oh, I can actually do this. I think it's more a scary thought for men.
I think so.
And I think the daunting thing of like, oh my god, I need to bring up a child, like, rather than you know.
I think especially Jamie is an only child, so he's not had any experience really with babies growing up. He was the baby.
Not been around them.
In terms of, I was brought up bringing up children. So to me it's
just
like,
second nature.
like, I know that I'm not going to get any sleep, it's fine, we'll figure it out. I know that the baby's going to be ill, it's fine, we'll figure it out. I know how to wean a baby and feed a baby and put them to sleep
change
a baby, like, you know, it's just second nature. But to Jamie, it's not second nature. It's literally, I'm going to have to learn something new from scratch. But then for me, one of the big things was when making the decision as to whether or not this is what I want now. So what's more important, my relationship or the want of a baby? Like, I know that I want to be with Jamie.
Yeah,
so
of course.
That comes before it all. And I also like trust that life's got a funny way of figuring itself out and that we're going to be okay. So when Jamie kind of, you know, like you said, had been around some babies and had started to, like, you know, change a nappy and just grow up, I think, a bit. And all of a sudden he's going, do you know what? Actually, like, I could do this. And he looks at me and I look at him and I'm like, my issue is I don't want a family with someone else. I want a family with you. So if I can't have a family with you, I don't want a family. You know, even though he could say, right, baby, if that's what you want, then go and find it somewhere else. It's like, no, that's not the point.
That's not what
the point is, I want a family with you. I want a baby with you. I want a child with you. I want a teenager with you. I want an adult with you as a family. I want us to be a family together. I don't want that with someone else. So I think it's that understanding that it isn't just us having a baby together.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
It's having a family that we grow up together and we love together and we do everything together. And I think that is, for me and for Jamie now, like the big thing. You know, we're at a place in our life where we are older and we are more settled and ready for it. Obviously our jobs in TV are turbulent, but Jamie's got a stable job. So
you have to be with someone that's got a stable job so that you can sort of do the peaks and troughs and take it in turns, can't you?
But I think, like you say, the pressure of at our age, being surrounded by all your friends that are having babies, there is definitely, I personally don't feel like any of my friends have ever put pressure on to be like, you should have a baby because I've had a baby.
No.
What I will say is it's just a natural thing.
Like, even though it's not a visual thing, in the back of your head, I hear tick, 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 tick. I'm like, the clock is ticking and it's counting down. It's like a timer that's counting down. And even though obviously, like, I don't think about it all the time, I still know it's in back of my head subconsciously. I've got a ticking time bomb.
Yeah, definitely.
Of when I can have children.
Yeah.
But listen, like, it is what it is. What's meant to be is meant to be, and like you say, the universe will deliver what they intention.
100%, and we believe that. We believe it. Do you have baby names?
I've got a few.
How do you feel about sharing the baby names?
I'm not going to share them with anyone. I think I'm probably going to keep them because I feel like right up until when that baby is born, you don't know what you're going to call it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very sensitive subject, and I completely get why people don't tell people.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Really?
Don't care.
Really? I mean, obviously there's going to be people in the whole world that are going to be called that name. It doesn't really matter. But it's just more annoying. I feel like it's just very annoying.
Why?
Well, if you were having a baby and your baby was born 2 weeks before mine and they called it, I don't know, Robbie.
Yeah.
Robbie Roberts.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to call my baby Robbie Roberts and you've just stole my name.
Well, we just have 2 babies called Robbie.
Oh.
I honestly, for me, I don't care. If I tell you a name and then you go... I would like it if you told me, if you said, oh my god, I love that name, I think I'm going to call that my baby, and you called it your baby, and then 2 weeks later I had a baby. I'm like, I told you I was calling my baby Robbie, so the fact you call your baby Robbie, hun, we've got 2 Robbies. So I'll be thinking, I don't know what you were trying to do there, because I'm just going to call my baby what I want to call my baby. So
I think it's hard though. I think it's so hard to think of a name that doesn't remind you of someone.
Yeah.
That doesn't come with badness attached to it. I know that sounds awful, doesn't it? Like, I've got friends that work in schools, a lot of friends that work in schools in fact, and they obviously have a lot of little shits in school. So obviously when they come to have a baby, they're like, no, can't use that name, no, can't use that name, no, can't use that name.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it definitely ruins it. So if you've got a good name and you want to hold on to that name, keep tight hold. Because say you were like in a class and like say I had a 5-year-old and you had a 5-year-old, obviously this wouldn't matter too much, but I had a 5-year-old, you had a 5-year-old, and my Robbie was a little shit.
Yeah.
But your Robbie was good as gold. And then we would obviously be saying bad things about my Robbie because my Robbie's a little shit.
Yeah.
And then people would get confused with your Robbie's thinking your Robbie's a little shit, but he's not a little shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just put him straight. My Robbie's not the little shit, it's Liv's. It's Liv's little Robbie. That's the shit.
Don't be dipping me in it.
Yeah.
I'm the angel.
No, listen, I do, even though I don't care, of course it's a thing, isn't it? Like, I think the only thing is like,
some people are just more precious, aren't they?
Yeah, I have a list of names on my phone. The likelihood is there's some names on that list that you've got.
Of course.
So my thing is, if you had a baby 2 weeks before me and called it a name that was on my list, and
that was a coincidence. But that's different.
But then if you've had a baby 2 weeks ago, your mind 2 weeks after when I call my baby the same thing isn't going, it's probably a coincidence. You're thinking, you absolute bitch, you've stolen my baby's name and I've already called my baby.
No, because I didn't tell you. So you're not to know.
Yeah, but by that point I'd know. I'd know because you've had your baby. You called it Robbie.
2 weeks later.
Yeah, and then 2 weeks later I go in, I have my baby, call it Robbie. You'll be thinking, you bitch, you've taken my name. I'm like, no, he's already on my list. So I'm going to keep my list, by the way, just for after a baby, just in case we both have babies with the same name.
Yeah, keep the list.
I can show you once and be like, see, it's on the list. We're not going to have babies with the same name.
I'm not that highly strung on
Maybe we'll have a baby with
but
the same name.
Yeah, maybe.
I do have a list.
Not many things go with Patel though, I must admit.
Yeah.
So I have to really think about it.
It's like Petal, but Patel. More Asian.
Well, I think it's more, I think I want a cross between English and non-English.
Yeah, well, that'll be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be really nice.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so well, I wouldn't, you would share names.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you ask me my baby names, I'll read you my list. I don't know what it's going to be called, because who knows, and what if it comes out and I think, oh, that's a Robbie, and then it comes out, it says Elsa.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it Elsa or Robbie, just FYI, so you can have them. Feel free. They're on the table, you can have them.
Got the green light, there you go. But
Yeah.
I think as well, as like a freelancer, you have to save for maternity and taking time off, don't you? So how long would you say you would want off?
5 months.
Would you?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
What about you?
I think I'd decide, I'd obviously have a year's worth of savings, because anything can happen in terms of like actually having the baby.
And health, yeah.
And health and all that stuff. I think I would probably edge towards 6 months, well 5-6 months, similar to you. But if I could actually take a whole year off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then also, it's one of those things like, if I feel like I want to go back to work and I want to earn more money because I don't have enough money, or whatever your circumstances may be, it might change, then obviously I would go back after like 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say about our industry is that, yes, it's turbulent, but there is way more flexibility than if you were working in an office or something.
Yeah.
And, you know, in a lot of jobs, when you go back after maternity leave, when you're staff, for example, you go back, you might be able to go back part-time if it's negotiated, you might be able, but you're going back and you're going back.
I think part-time jobs are very hard to come by though. I think people want you in the office.
Yeah.
This is such a reactive job and you need to be on your toes all the time.
But there's so many things though, as PMs, we could go and do post-production paperwork if we wanted. You know,
there's other areas you can go into.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm not.
You can't do production.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'd go
straight
at 5 months straight back into being a PM on I'm a celebrity, get me out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I would potentially
listen.
I'm ready for that now. What I would say is, you know, if 4 months in, 5 months in, I'm kind of feeling like I could do with 2 days work or whatever, I'd definitely look what's going on and if there's a bit of post-production.
There's just so many options. I think we've got so many strings to your bow as well, like, because we've done so many things now. Like you could do PA gallery for a day, do daily stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like there's no roof to like or end to what you can do, because you can go into different areas. So it is good.
Maybe I'll just be a therapist.
Yeah. Do you know what? Why not? At least then you can definitely work around family life, and it's Monday to Friday.
Exactly. Yeah. I need to get that degree in, don't I?
Get it in, love. Get it in, love. But yeah, so I think that rounds up today. We've had a lot of Babygate, haven't we?
We have. I mean, I feel like we've only touched on the surface. Like looking at my notes, we've still got half the things to discuss about parenting and stuff. But maybe it's a conversation that we'll have
when we get
post baby. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when we're around, when we're having babies. Yeah,
like, because at least then I know that our minds will change on so many things. Like in my head, I'm having a C-section, and I'm going to be bottle feeding my baby.
You said you would go for a full MILF transformation when you had your C-section.
Ideally, that's what I'd have. A C-section, the baby is going to be on bottles, and I'm having a mummy makeover all at the same time in the Portland. Don't know how I'm going to afford this. I'm going to have to marry another very rich man to get it done or something.
Jamie, listen. Start saving now.
Yeah, start saving. No, will not be having a baby in the Portland. No. Jesus. But yeah, that's my plan. But no doubt when I actually get pregnant, I'll be like, also, I actually want a natural hypnobirth with lots of music
at home. Yeah,
because I think this motherly instinct just takes over. But anyway, we've got so much more of that to talk about, and hopefully, especially, I know a lot of our listeners have babies already, so I'm sure it's really interesting for you to be like, oh well, that you're going to change your mind on that, and actually this. So please let us know what you went through, if there's anything. Any tips, tricks,
any thoughts before and after the babies.
Yeah, we can share it on the socials, all for our other baby mums. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for listening. As always, we can't wait to be back with you next week.
Yeah, see you next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.